From the Schmoes Know Network Studios in Los Angeles, California, it's time for Meet the Movie Press. And now, here's your host, the editor-in-chief of schmoesknow.com, Mark Reilly, and from The Wrap, Jeff Sneider.
Me.
That is you.
Oh my God.
I love that music.
Me too. You know what it means? It means it's time to meet the movie press.
We are meeting the movie press today. Hello, Schmoville. And welcome to another episode of Meet the Movie Press. I am editor-in-chief of schmoesknow.com, Mark Reilly.
Jeff Sneider here, film reporter for The Wrap.
That's right. And we are very excited. We have a great show today, Schmoville. We have a very interesting film reporter coming on, Justin Kroll from Variety.
I'm very excited to have him.
Yeah, he's your buddy, right?
One of my best friends here in Los Angeles, and I can't believe he came on.
I know. I'm really excited. I mean, when you get somebody from Variety, when you're co-hosting with somebody from The Wrap, I mean, we got some legitimacy here, and
we got Devin, who's like one of the kings of the fanboys last week, and now we got one of the princes of the trade press.
I like that. That's a good description. And guys, out there in Schmoville, thank you so much for subscribing on iTunes and subscribing on the Schmoes Know podcast network on YouTube. You guys are just killing it. We keep climbing the charts.
I love the comments. Keep rating it.
Yeah, keep rating it. Share with your friends. I'm still getting my mother on board with the iTunes. She's trying to listen to it, but...
mine have no idea.
Yeah.
They make me just repeat the entire show on the phone.
Yeah, mine too. My mom was like, so what'd you talk about? Well, we talked about Batman Superman. What's that? That's a movie, Mom. So, but thank you, guys. I mean, I can't thank you enough. It's really humbling to be so high up on the network.
I have a bad day at the office. I know I can go home and go to iTunes and look at all of my 5-star ratings.
Yes.
Make me feel like a champ.
Yes, absolutely. And so, yeah, guys, every week on Meet the Movie Press, as you know, we're breaking down scoops and the hot stories out there. And Jeff, I just got to commend you on the Minority Report scoop.
Thank you. Yes, every now and then I dip my toe into the TV waters, and
I love it because I then cover it on our site, and I'm excited personally for a Minority Report. That's one of my favorite Spielberg movies.
Me too. I love Minority Report. I think that the premise definitely lends itself to a show. It already kind of does, but I don't watch Person of Interest.
Yeah. I know that there was the comparison there. I like it more for the sci-fi element of it, and it's a Spielberg TV show. Amblin's doing it, correct?
Can we bring back Samantha Morton as one of the precogs?
I would love that. What is she doing? I mean, that'd be great.
Huh?
Yeah. No. Oh.
Wait. It wasn't Samantha Morton. It was Samantha Mathis. I always confuse them. It's Samantha I just
Morton.
Fuck.
I just went with it.
I never do this.
You know, it's television.
JT, edit that out.
Yeah. But how did just real quick? How did you get wind of this? I mean, this is a big scoop.
Just one of my better sources who had heard stuff. It was really tough getting confirmation out of anybody.
I'm sure.
DreamWorks didn't deny it. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
But yeah, I couldn't really get in touch with his representatives. So again, it's just one of those circumstances where you trust your source.
Yeah.
And eventually later in the day, the writer Max Borenstein, who did Godzilla, was accepting congratulations, and you don't accept congratulations for jobs you haven't gotten.
That is true. You would dodge those. You would ignore Twitter, in my opinion. So
it was definitely a good one, but let's also talk about the Schmoes, and you guys had a really interesting piece with Scoot McNairy.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Jeff. One of my boys, Alex Welsh, he's my managing editor on the site, and he just killed it with this interview with Scoot McNairy. You guys can go to schmoesknow.com right now and check it out. He talks a little bit about Batman v Superman. And speaking of Godzilla, Gareth Edwards, how Scoot worked with Gareth on Monsters, and now that he's doing Star Wars, Scoot's interested. So it's a really fun interview. So check it out, guys. But let's just get right to it.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay.
So Jeff,
I was up late last night.
Yes.
I wrote a little intro for my pal Justin. I get to go head to head with this guy every day. He definitely keeps me on my toes and makes it interesting.
I love watching you guys on Twitter.
And he's one of my best friends here in LA. So again, Schmoville, we have a very special guest in the studio. He goes by many names.
Yes.
He's on loan to us from Jerry Ferrara's podcast. We have the Sultan of Scoop, the Prince of the Paper, the best-selling author of Fantastic Scoops and Where to Find Them, my former Murtaugh, the Don Juan of Detroit, Justin Kroll.
Oh, yeah. That was quite an intro.
Well, I was definitely Riggs, I think.
Yeah.
I'm the loose cannon.
I like the Murtaugh reference, the Riggs.
Although I'm the one who's probably too old for this shit. Justin, welcome.
Yeah, just
yourself. That's fun.
Can you hear it?
Oh, yeah.
And then for those of you at home, yes, that is Eminem. Welcoming you in, Justin. How you doing, man? Good to meet you and having you on the show. This is great.
How do you guys get up this early? This is ridiculous.
It's very, very early.
I was checking my schedule yesterday, and I was like, yes, I got a breakfast at 9:30 for once, because these agents always want to do breakfast at like 7:30 in the morning.
Right.
And then I looked at it, I was like, oh, I got to do this show before I go to the breakfast.
Yeah, see, it's like I come in so late during the week. I get in so early on Fridays that it makes up for it.
Yeah, and you ask, it's coffee for breakfast and coffee during the show and more coffee afterwards.
You have to wake up this early just to get to the valley, in a reasonable amount of time.
Took me. I live right off the 405 on like Brentwood, and I was amazed how quickly I got here. So I was like, oh, I'm going to look for a Starbucks, and I forgot they banned them in the valley, I guess, because I couldn't find them anywhere.
It's Encino. There's some shady happenings over here in Encino.
But there was plenty of liquor stores that were open this early. So
well, yeah,
of course.
What else are you going to do in Encino? So Jeff, come on, Justin.
Okay, where do we begin?
Well, so we're going to begin here. You guys have a rapport that is just awesome, and it's a privilege for me to be here with two leading reporters in the trade industry. I am a humble blogger, I guess you could say, at schmoesno.com. But Jeff, take it away.
Yeah. Justin and I worked together for a couple of years at Variety, maybe more than a couple, but our time was cut short together.
We had a break.
Justin, how long have you been working over at Variety?
It was 6.5 years. I started 6 years in February, so it's about 6.5 now.
Wow.
About four this November doing the reporting.
Yeah.
I started as an intern, just like Jeff.
Yep.
Okay.
Great intern program for aspiring journalists and reporters.
They're very good at taking care. Like the trade business, it's hard to. It's a acquired taste, I would say.
Sure.
So you kind of have to learn. It's not like you don't learn it in journalism school. You have to kind of learn it through, going into it.
Pound the pavement
exactly.
as an intern.
So about, I would say, almost a year into it, that we had the recession and the awful layoffs that Jeff was involved with.
Yep, we know that feeling.
But part of the silver lining was I got a lot of the just stuff they couldn't hire people for anymore. They hired me as a temp for a couple months before hiring me as an editorial assistant, and I did a variety of stuff there. No pun intended.
Yeah. Hey, wait, I get that. That's cool.
like the players column and stuff like that,
exactly.
Right?
Players columns led me to meeting a lot of like up and coming managers and agents who are now pretty high profile managers and agents, and they introduced me to people and so on. And it got to a point where I used that to start breaking stuff. Like, we were getting just, the deadline was beating us up pretty good. Fleming had left for deadline. Mike Fleming was there for years.
Right.
And then, Mike was just rolling us, so I started, breaking news here and there. Nothing huge. I think my first scoop ever was like the Project XCast, which I thought was the coolest thing.
I remember
Project X,
but
that goes back.
But the big one was Gravity. I got Sandra Bullock. It was a weird day. Like I had heard through my one great source at the time that Natalie Portman had fallen out, so I actually got beaten on the Natalie Portman leaving, but Warner's was so mad that came out, they helped me in getting the Sandra Bullock stuff an hour later. So
that sounds interesting, because I remember Angelina Jolie, wasn't she attached to that at one point? But is this after the fact?
Yeah, that was when Angelina, she couldn't go out. Blake Lively was someone that Jeff Robinoff wanted.
Wow.
I still this day I'm like, how is she ever? Was she ever in the mix?
That's interesting.
And then but then Natalie was one they really liked. She ended up getting pregnant. That's what it was, I think.
Millipede.
Right. Yeah. And Sandra came in, and it's funny. I did the Oscar reactions this year, and ended up talking to Sandra real early in the morning, so she had a little extra time to talk. And I mentioned my first big scoop was that, and she, it was really cool to talk with her and talk about how many actors can put their hands on a piece of material that just matters the final product. And she's 100% right, because if you look down the road of all the people that have like Nicolas Cage in The Wrestler, I still to this day think,
wow,
and the people who were supposed to be in the fighter, I thought, were, that didn't come together. It's just, it's interesting to look at what I follow and how stuff falls apart, but in the end, sometimes it's almost for the best that it does.
Yeah, and that's, we talk about that a lot, actually, on this show. It's like, when you report stuff, it can fall apart, and it's not necessarily, oh, you're wrong.
Right.
It's,
you're right in that moment.
You're right in that moment because, as we say on the show, we have our ear to the ground, you guys especially, and you hear a lot of this stuff. So Justin, when you were saying that you were breaking scoops and kind of in reaction to Fleming going to deadline, like, was that on your own accord, or do you have a boss, somebody ahead of you that is saying, hey, why don't you look at this, giving you leads?
It was, I call it the midnight shift. I was like the last person. I shut down the paper pretty much, but like I was getting in like an hour or two early just to kind of beat the pavement a little bit, and no one was really saying anything. So I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna go with it. And we had a budget back in the day. This was when we had a print daily.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I would
print.
just,
what's that?
I remember those budgets. They were like getting the Torah.
I had a boss, but she was like in the design. She was like in our paper, like Paula Taylor or something like that was like technically my boss. But like if I had scoops, I would just email. Cynthia Littleton was the person I would email, and she'd help push it through because she'd like speak up for me at the meeting, obviously, and show the relevance of how big a deal this was. That after I got promoted, it was Josh Dickey, who's now with Mashable.
Okay.
He was, he was a great. He kind of, I really cut my teeth under him, and it really helped me make it on my back in the day. Me and Jeff Cope wrote a lot of stuff, and it was, it was a much more. It was a, very team effort. And it is still now. I work with Dave McNary and a lot of other great reporters over at Variety.
Mark Grazer,
mm-hmm. And I'd say, it's. But I'm still I'm much more comfortable kind of like overseeing it and really tracking not just one or two studios but every major studio project, and it's it comes naturally now.
That's great.
I personally was always impressed with your ability to penetrate the agency world, which can be tough.
Yeah.
But I feel like Justin's very well sourced in the agency world.
Okay. So you get a relationship with these agents now. When you say it's tough, are these agents like, no, we don't want to talk to the trades?
No, I mean the way it always worked is like. I have this persona in the industry as the frat boy. I can
see that.
Solo cup.
Yeah.
I can see that.
The ironic part is one of my close friends who works in the biz. She hates that persona. She'll go into like meetings and hear like, oh, that he's kind of easy fratty, and she hates it because she knows I never was in a frat. I didn't want to pay the dues. I got hazed in high school. I didn't want to do it all over again. So I made friends with, but like I think I'm more bro-y, and that's that personality is a lot of reps and like the up and coming guys have those personalities.
And you're a good looking single guy, so you can go to the bars with them, watch the game on the weekend or whatever.
Yeah, I'm from there's about 3 or 4 or 5 guys that they're friends now. They're buddies that I hang out with after work or on the weekends. But yeah, it was like I don't talk like it's very easy to talk to them. Like we'll go into like talk about our sports teams or like I have a good memory, so I'll like bring up how's your kids doing, or you're about to have a baby. Like when
it's not always about
the work. They don't see you as like that's in fact you should not make it that. Sometimes you should try to like be very personable, because then like they open their guard isn't as down, and then nowadays when I call, they know what I'm calling about. They know what I'm. It's real check-in. It's almost trained these people to call me when I need it now. That's great. It comes naturally. So
I almost take it for granted. Like we're training some young reporters over at the Wrap,
mm-hmm.
and I've had to ask them to get some confirmations, and they can't always get them, and it's like I take it for granted.
The relationships,
exactly, the relationships.
Yeah, and so in these relationships, do they blossom as you start to break stuff that is relevant and true? And are you getting promoted at work as you pound this pavement?
I mean, I don't know where I would like. There's no more level. Like it's like I think the responsibility, like, and with my job, there's so much to cover. Like my bosses just expect me to like the Fantastic Beasts thing. I didn't tell anybody I was tracking that. I just kind of had. I literally, I was writing it. I was like fixing a headline or something like that, and our mutual friend Stuart goes, "Hey, are you gonna be done with that soon?" And I was like, "How'd you know?" I was like, "Oh, because I was looking in the thing." And he was
in the system, right?
He was sniffing around. I'm like, "Just pump your brakes, bro."
Well, we got to talk about that then, because that's a big scoop this week.
That captured the flag, so to speak.
Yes, it did, because I know my managing editor is a huge Harry Potter fan. He's like, did you see the breaking news? And I was like, no, what happened? And he's like, I'm already writing it up. He was so excited. And I mean, I'm sorry, we heard Alfonso Cuarón was going to maybe come back. At least that was on my end, some story that I covered. Then I heard some different names, but David Yates coming back to the Harry Potter world in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
So what's the process for that for you? Like, how do you get wind of that information?
It was, I mean,
I know you have sources. So
no, I mean, I'll do it the best I can.
Yeah,
I'm not
gonna talk around it.
Yeah, I can. I'm not gonna give anybody's name up, but that was like these projects, when the script's done, they become like, they start talking to people and whatnot. But this was something that from the start, it seemed like Warner's wanted to go back to someone that was comfortable with the world. So Alfonso and David were there wasn't anybody else, by the way. It was just those two. Alfonso they approached, David they approached. But it was a slow process. Alfonso was figuring out what he wanted to do. Yeah. To be honest, I'm glad it would have been nice, but I want him original material from now on.
Absolutely.
So he, kind of came and went. I mean, they had like 8 things out to him, like Overlook Hotel, Doctor Sleep. He still hasn't.
They want to be back in business with him after Gravity made a ton of money.
They $700 million on a non-branded material. Obviously, you want that, but he passed. And then David was dealing with Tarzan. So
he's doing Tarzan.
It was a slow process. The film comes out in 2016, so they weren't like it was a high priority, obviously, but they weren't like, they wanted to take their time. And obviously, if there was any interest from David, they were gonna listen. And so I in May I heard they were buzzing about it. No one could. This film was like DC Comics, Star Wars. You weren't gonna get a confirmation. Right. It was. I mean, my sources. Everybody in town couldn't find anything out about it. It was very but like slowly you started hearing stuff, and then like, end of last week, a couple of my sources I heard Yates is doing this. I don't know, I don't know if there's a deal. That's the thing. A lot of people are like, I don't know if there's a deal. I'm hearing him, but it sounds more clarity. Yeah. So the best part here's the silver lining of when they don't confirm, you work your sources and you don't wait for that confirmation, and there's not as much brushback. You're not going to get people hooting and hollering. Yeah. So I pre-wrote a story. I broke the David Gordon Green, Sandra Bullock, Our Bravest Crisis.
I saw that too.
And they were very helpful with that. So
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers. So I was like, I'm going to give them 2 hours and not throw this at them right away. So it came. I had someone prepped. I was like, let's get the story ready to go. And then I shot an email. I'm like, listen, I've sourced this out. I think, what I have, I didn't say there was a deal. I kept it open a little bit, but I was like, I think both sides have agreed they want to do something. And the thing they're figuring out is after he's shooting Tarzan still. Yeah, right. So as soon as I got, as soon as there was like no real brushback, it was like a no comment.
Right. That's part of it. It's like if they're not going to deny, then
you guys can
read between the lines. Yeah. Something like that.
So I went. I was a little nervous, but like 5 minutes later, one of our competitors,
and
he had a full story, so he must have been on it.
This is good.
Yeah, tell me, because that was originally sourced was Boris Kitt you mentioned, and I find that interesting, and I know it's your exclusive. So yeah,
I saw it on Variety first.
This is so. Everybody Deadline had credited us on the Rat. So I emailed someone in my office, said, why don't you reach out to Boris and see if he'll do it. I reach out because we'll when this guy's going off on Twitter, we'll like laugh about it over emails or something like that. So I emailed Boris. I was like, is today the day that Mr. Kitt gives me credit, with a smiley face? Okay. And he's like, nope. I had it too. You just beat me to the trigger. Okay. And I go, oh, so I can, so we can say I fucked your day up pretty much. Is that my stuff? And I was like, yep, you pretty much did. Yeah. They didn't even blast it. Like, that's how mad I could tell I could just see him ripping out his little Brillo hair.
So that's interesting. So he throws it out there as his exclusive, or
no, he knew. He was. I mean, he's not gonna. He just didn't credit.
Yeah, he didn't credit, which is a big thing in this business.
But I agree with
care.
Boris in this instance. If you're on it, why do you have to credit? You were on it.
I agree. I tend to agree with that.
Sure. I didn't. I'll be. I'm pretty honest with the reporting. I wasn't on it yesterday, and so I credited. If I had been on it and been tracking it and just lost it, I wouldn't credit for that.
I don't care about the credit.
Yeah. So Justin, you mentioned something interesting. So you got wind of this in May.
Oh yeah.
So you've been holding it this long?
No, I've been tracking it. I mean,
tracking it.
Like
Okay.
Yates hasn't committed. I don't like just like throwing like. I don't go on Twitter that much to like berate anybody. I kind of did yesterday.
Who would do that?
I kind of did that yesterday. It wasn't even berate. It was like a lecture. It was like 101. Like
that was fine.
I explained that there's like half a dozen individuals who get so many offers. Like that when you write something, like Brad Pitt, Jennifer Lawrence, and Sandra Bullock. Like when they have 4 offers at a time and they have not said, it's literally sitting on their desk and they haven't even read the script. I think that's you've put it out there for sure. Yeah. But a person committing to it and say, I want to do this, let's make this happen, is advancing it in the second exclusive.
Oh yeah.
And I explained like. Someone,
I
forget who it was. It wasn't a hard time. You just said the told you. If you didn't say told you, I probably wouldn't have said anything.
I just like saying told you. It's a fun word.
Okay, let's move on from that. But,
we can't talk about that.
Yeah, sorry.
But he said it, so I had to explain. Well, this is how this goes. And
now, when you say explain, I'm sorry to interrupt. You're explaining to Boris, or
this is to me?
We're talking about a different scoop.
Over here.
Okay, that's interesting. But I just like the due diligence of this scoop. It's not some willy-nilly thing. I mean, you're tracking it for months.
That's what I was going to ask Justin. Is maybe in this case you're tracking it, not holding it, but you obviously hold a ton of stories. How hard is that for you?
Easier now. I just don't care as much if I lose something just because there's so many other fish in the sea. I see it. Like back in the day, I used to get really. Here's my thing. I get mad now if people just don't know how to do their job. Like if it's like a 6th grader could do what you do, like answer an email or something like that. That's when I'm like, okay, this is when I start raising my voice and getting angry. If I lose something because someone went early, like someone worked harder at it, I just I'll post, I'll move on from there, and then that's it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I just you gotta you have wins and losses. Like again, when I was chatting with Boris yesterday, he's like, yeah, you've been quiet for a while, but this is sure quite a way to come back. And I was like, yeah, we all have droughts. Like I had a pretty good July, I thought. I had a lot of stuff. I had probably 3 things every week that were substantial. Yeah. The last 2, I get pissed. I was like grumpy at work. Like I was counting 8 days.
Sure, you have to get your mojo back.
Yeah. And it was bothering me. It was bothering me because not because it's slow. I hate August. But it was also bugging me because it was out there. No one's around. Like people are on vacation. People are at work, but they feel like they're on vacation. So it was frustrating. But yeah, everybody has our droughts, and and you just have to be due diligent and keep making calls. That's the way it works. But yeah, this wasn't even the longest thing I was tracking. Like Travis McGee, I was tracking that back in February when McConaughey had the offer. Like,
wow.
That was, that's how long you have to wait. Like, and then when he passed, I was, waiting more.
Stanford prison experiment this week with Billy Crudup and Ezra Miller, 1.5 years.
Year and a half.
Year and a halif.
So if I had gone with that last Friday, you would have been really angry.
I would have been so pissed.
Someone slipped me that, and I just didn't even bother doing it.
So if the tables were reversed for Fantastic Beasts and Boris got it out there first, you wouldn't have been pissed at all. I mean, that's
maybe because
because you've been tracking it for.
You
a
mean
while.
Like if he had posted at 11:27 and I went 11:32, I would have been infuriated because I would have like, why don't we post sooner? Like I would have been like mad at myself, like because I had given Warner's the time because of like the fairness.
And you have to go through editors. You have to file a story and get it checked out, and then someone else puts like the photo and images or the photo and headlines on, or what?
That's a great question.
I put my headline. The only thing I don't do is the photo because we have a lot of photo people.
Sure.
I have a person that reads it through, make sure I didn't leave a word out or misspell. It's good. I like a second pair of eyes.
That's great. Yeah.
I actually a lot of my pre-written stuff is edited just so all we have to do is.
Do you submit with a headline?
I submit a headline too.
Okay.
That's just lazy to not. I do as much as I can. It really is. Like
If there's one thing Justin Kroll has, it's a good work ethic.
So that doesn't happen sometimes. Is that you guys in your business, you're submitting it to editors, right? To get a second pair of eyes.
I feel sometimes.
Sometimes
I feel like I have a bit of an advantage in that sense because I tend to post directly on my own. So that may hold his process up a minute or two or whatever. Yeah, they're quick. The website.
If I put a fire drill sign up or I say post this shit right now or something like that, it's up pretty damn quickly.
I used to love yelling drill at Variety.
He would snap. I got something. I got something.
Right, so paint the picture for me, guys, because I'm like picturing like all the President's Men, but for the movie press. And are you in like cubicles and you see your buddies all over the place and you're like, I got a hot scoop. Get it, fire drill. Are you doing that? Do you have your
I'm
own
pretty
office?
calm, to be honest. I mean, no, we have. It's just a cube. I don't even know what to call it. It's just a desk.
Office space cubicle.
Yeah, I got a nice view.
Yeah,
but
that's great, Justin.
You have
come in on Sunday.
You have a divider though, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I have a divider.
Yeah, we don't even have dividers.
Really?
We just have long tables.
So you don't sit in your kitchen like I do?
Oh, right. No, I was going to actually ask you about that, Justin. I mean, do you think that you could ever work from home, or do you like being in the newsroom and that buzz?
I have a roommate that works from home, and there's been a couple of days where I'm just home. I've been home like the day off, like I have something going on that night, and he's there. He's miserable. It's just like to not have somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
It's not like your friends are working. Not like you can call them up.
Right.
Who am I gonna call my dad and grandparents up and be like, "Hey guys," like no, like I mean, there's I mean,
yeah.
I have the computer on so I can like check on ESPN if I need to.
Sure.
Read Barstool Sports if I get really bored.
You could do all this at work too.
I could do plenty,
Twitter.
but like it's just I enjoy being able to. And I'd be distracted. I'd probably, if I ran an errand and lost the story, I'd be pissed at myself. So it's just good to have people. I mean, I get like it's slow when there's people around and there's nothing going on. So like nothing going on and.
Right. I like the buzz of a newsroom. I like going into work.
It's not even a buzz. It's just people being. I like having conversation. Like this week, Boardwalk Empire screeners and Sons of Anarchy screeners came in. I love going up to our TV critic or whoever and talking about the TV show.
I used to love that. I mean, that's one of the things I miss most at Variety is talking to the critics. And
getting their perspective. It's fantastic.
This is fun. That's not because I feel the same way. When I'm working at home, I go crazy. So, but I see the light in your eyes, Jeff.
Listen, I don't have a wife and kids either. So if I was like taking care of all their responsibilities,
sure.
I get like the how Fleming does it, and Nelly and all those people. But like I like being at an office.
Justin's a snazzy dresser too, so he likes putting pants on.
I'm dressed down today. Actually, I got dark jeans.
But I don't see Justin as the type who just hangs out in his underwear all day.
Yeah,
I might.
No,
I do.
I'm dressed to impress.
So now I got off to a rocky start with Schmoville. Tell me your experience with them. Have they frustrated you with some scoops?
No,
or
that was
how
funny.
did we get you here today?
Well, that's a funny story. I forget what it was. It was like I didn't give the
Magnificent
credit.
Seven. I know
the credit thing. Well, no, it's just
it's something we talked about. I know probably Christian Harloff, head schmo, is very good at being a pit bull and fighting for credit, but then also extending an olive branch and saying, "Hey, I get it. Want to come on the show?"
I think I gave credit eventually. Like I do give credit on stuff. I have no problem doing that. I forget sometimes. I got in trouble once because I lost the scoop. New Line getting Inherent Vice. I had that for months, and the cigarettes and red vines. I was like,
oh yeah, the PTA.
Come on, man! And I had to post real quick, and I was literally going in to update the story, and some douche starts calling me out, and I literally was like, yo, asshole, I just updated it, and they're like, you can't swear at someone on Twitter, which I don't. I'm like, okay.
Wait, so somebody was giving you
he was just like busting my balls. I never get lash out.
I mean, you don't have to say the name, but was it a blogger? Or
it's the guy who runs Red Wines, and then he backed off as soon as he realized. I was like, oh, he's like, sorry. I was like, I hate getting in fights on Twitter because I don't see someone, so I just avoid it as much as possible. But that's the one case, and then I stopped doing it after that.
I think that's the ugly side of this business. I know a lot of scoopers will go out there and fight and get into some kind of Twitter thing, and I'm always just like, just let the article speak for itself, or the credit, fine, whatever. And I appreciated you coming back around and crediting Schmoes.
The funny thing was then Christian, I go out to lunch or whatever it was something, and he's like, yeah, I heard on the street you hate us. I'm like, bro, I don't hate you. Like, I don't hate anyone. Like I don't get that. Like, I just don't care. Like, there's like these, I feel like there's like a kind of a cliquey club in the blogosphere.
There is, yes.
That, like, they and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just don't. It's like the frat thing. I don't care if I'm not in it. Like, I don't care if you get mad at me. I don't care if it's just me. I have enough friends. I just, it's a work thing. I respect you. You guys are all doing great work, but like, I don't like hate's a strong word. Like, it's not like you slept with my girlfriend, buddy. Like, you just, like, we had a conversation on Twitter. Like, you beat me on a couple of scoops.
By the way, I'm sorry about that, Justin.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, guys!
If you know anything,
couples counseling?
Yeah.
No, there's no. Jeff knows that my relationships don't last very long in terms of females.
Well, it's interesting when you bring up, Boris Kitt over at the Hollywood Reporter. I look at, the big four. It's Variety, The Wrap, Deadline, and Hollywood Reporter. And even if you go to Boris Kitt and say, "Hey, is this the day that Kitt's going to give me some credit?" and he goes, "Nope, that's the same thing."
I can't speak for them, but I think that's a policy thing almost.
That's what I think too.
That's what I want to know.
I don't see that.
I've never worked there. I don't even ask about it. Like I said,
not even Hollywood Reporter policy. Like with these blogs, like Schmoes Know, if they drop a scoop or we drop a scoop, and you're working on it, and do you even know we're out there? I mean, I know you.
That's
know
the
of
thing
us.
too.
You're not seeing or following that, so you're dropping your own because you've been doing something completely different than what we're doing.
That's It's funny you said that. It was like I said, it's been slow for the last 8 days, and I just covered that the Quentin, like, he's doing the Hateful Eight, like, teaser trailer.
Oh yeah, and we want to talk about that.
We are going to get into that big scoop that somebody else dropped.
Yeah. But no, please continue. Sorry.
But so I wrote it. I got it confirmed. It was on the. I didn't even know it was someone scooped. Like, it doesn't seem like a scoop. So I wrote it. It's slow. I put it up, and like the next day, like someone's like, "Oh, what do you know? J. Kroll VAR didn't give us credit for the." I was like, "Credit for what? The Hateful Eight thing?" I'm like, "That was a scoop." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm not going to give you credit now because I didn't see it anywhere else. But like, I didn't even realize that was a scoop. Like,
it's a huge world out there. Everybody has a blog and a Twitter handle, and if somebody hears something and drops it, and then they're looking to the big four to credit them, it must be tough for you guys.
It's certainly a badge of honor. I think.
You know what? When we've been mentioned in Variety, Wrap, I don't know if Deadline ever has, or Hollywood Reporter actually never has, but it feels good on my end. But for you guys, so you credited Justin for Fantastic Beasts, is that correct?
Absolutely.
So that is a pat on the back, like, hey, we're colleagues.
It's an acknowledgement that Justin was on this, and that I'm only writing this story because he did.
I've made it clear that I just don't care. Like, the only ones I care about, if I don't care if my dad or close friends are noticing my stuff, it's my I know that he knows I broke it.
But you want the industry to know it too.
I suppose, but they know it. Like the guys I care about and talk to are reading Variety, Deadline, or the Hollywood
They're not necessarily
Reporter,
reading the blogs.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
I understand that. That's the business.
Right, we're writing for a different audience.
Absolutely.
But in terms of, I'd love to talk about that sort of blogs versus trades or whatever. So yesterday, our friend was it Swarovski or was it Matt Goldberg at Collider? I think it was Matt Goldberg.
I know. Yeah, it's. I'm going to go there right now.
But Collider nonetheless reported that Jennifer Lawrence was in talks for the Hateful Eight, most likely, though they didn't name the character, most likely for Daisy Domergue, since she's basically the only big female role in that movie.
Yeah, it was Matt Goldberg, by the way.
Okay.
So that's an interesting scoop because I saw that as I was leaving for the main show last night, and we talked about it on the news, and I thought it was interesting because then I did some homework later that night, and I looked specifically at the Big Four, and you guys haven't covered it yet, and that's... Right. I want to hear why in that process.
It was interesting. Well, I'll let you start, Justin, because I have a lot to say about it, but go ahead.
First off, I want to ask, is this BS? Is this random? Is it debunked in your eyes?
I'm not trying to, I like Collider. They're very good at crediting.
Collider
they're good at, they
awesome.
Do a fantastic job over there.
That's what was difficult, is Collider's a credible source.
Absolutely.
And they got Inhumans, I think, a week or two, like the Marvel. Yeah. They got something.
Collider is a blog I would listen to. Absolutely.
I would too. And I do, actually.
Yes.
It's so the people, okay, I just don't want to put anybody on blast. I know her reps are it's not just the publicists, but like the people that work with her as well are very credible, have never beat me. If anything, they're not going to blatantly lie to me. They would be like, it's early, it's premature.
There's
it's
a
just an
possibility.
offer.
Hang tight.
There's this, there's that. At the least they'd say there's an offer, but she hasn't read it yet.
Okay.
It was flat out.
It was a hard no.
It was not just a hard no. This is a
Interesting.
ridiculous.
Yep.
This is like, and the reason I probably wouldn't have said anything, but then Jeff sounds like, you know what? I'm not going to write something. I just don't want. I felt if I wrote a story, like we did those stories with Star Wars when like Gosling and Efron were in the mix, that I had to like. There's no like reps say this is not true.
Yeah.
I felt if I had written a story and said reps say that this is completely false, it would almost make Collider. It's like a slap in the face to Collider. So I just thought, okay, to the readership, I should at least explain what I've heard. And I said, this is what they said. I added in there the Live by Night stuff that she had just passed on that, which is another great property she would obviously like to work on, but like can't because
that was a good tidbit.
It's their schedule. Like she has Joy, like with David O. Russell, that she's going to be doing the Hunger Games stuff. X-Men, people forget that she's got to shoot that, and that's going to be 3 or 4 months. Someone's like, oh, she'll do a day, or like, bro, it's not like, did you read the script when it came out? It's a significant role.
This
like,
is a big part. This is a big.
Someone said a day.
This is Tarantino.
Someone said a day or 2 days. They're like, Taran can do it. I'm like,
this is what gave me pause, because
it would make sense.
I was almost going to pick it up as a report. Like we were minutes away before we got the hard no, and I mean we don't need to. I mean, I got an on the record response. It was from Jennifer's publicist, and she said Jennifer's reps have confirmed she is not doing this project. That is pretty definitive. And
it again, wasn't a no comment.
But I didn't think it was a story necessarily, because it's not like one of the trades had said that she was in talks. I mean, it was an internet rumor, which is how they referred to it. Again, I think Collider's great.
Yeah.
But so once you get that no, I mean, I tweeted it out.
Decision.
Yeah, I tweeted it out. Yes, you want to share it with your audience, but I don't think it's necessarily for the rap.com.
And I dropped some names too. Like I said, Evan Rachel Wood, Gina Davis, and Hilary Swank were names that were that he was possibly interested. I don't know if they're meeting. That might be hogwash. I mean, the Gina Davis kind of makes sense.
Which is a fascinating shortlist, though, because there's Gina Davis and Evan Rachel Wood.
That's completely different.
Wide range, which is why the Jennifer Lawrence thing kind of makes sense a little bit.
It does, but then that's interesting. Just speaking of Tarantino, he's just probably has different ideas for different actresses.
I mean, he could rewrite that part in a way or do something different.
Gina Davis would be great.
Awesome.
She needs
awesome. Like think about that.
I'd love her to have something like that.
That cast would just.
Have you guys read the script?
I did, because I actually thought he was gonna keep to his word and not do it, and he ended up going back. I'm excited. I hate that I read it.
I mean, it's Tarantino. I'm excited too. I did not think it was his best script.
Okay,
but I know
it's smaller.
We also read an early draft, so
that's right,
and that's why I think he was frustrated, because you're going to get people like me being like, it wasn't his best work. Well, asshole, it wasn't done.
Yeah, exactly. And then he had the reading, and
make no mistake, he's my favorite.
Yeah,
I would line up to see him do anything.
Yeah.
And the list I just dropped is so early that like it could be just like someone who's putting their name out there and trying.
I'm surprised I didn't see more stories about your tweet. Actually,
I was shocked
more people
too.
Didn't pick it
so
up.
you guys then tweeted out instead of doing report. Yeah, instead of doing a report off of the Collider story, you tweet out. This is what we're hearing.
I do that once in a blue moon, by the way.
Right. He doesn't do it as often. I do it a little bit more. To me, it's one of those little Twitter exclusives. It's a more so for the audience.
It was great.
Oh, it was great. So yeah, Kroll starts throwing out these names for Hateful Eight, and I totally misread the tweet, and I think he's still talking about Live by Night. So I start throwing out the names I've heard for Live by Night. I mean, it was like a game of one-upsmanship between
I read that
us.
real quick, and I'm like, oh, he's doing Live by Night.
Yeah, I'm
like, dumb bastard.
Just like, way to go, Sneider.
Sorry.
I'm going to keep working.
Sorry,
here.
Ben Affleck. I apologize. That wasn't cool.
So when Collider basically says she's not on a list, but she's like the pick.
That is what gave me pause, is because Collider wasn't hedging its bets. They seemed pretty sure, like, she's in talks to do this.
Yeah.
So because I think so highly of them, we really were minutes away from picking it up. And if I hadn't heard from Jennifer Lawrence's publicist, I probably would have gone with something.
So clarification: minutes away from picking up, you were going to cover.
I was going to cover it and credit Collider.
Okay. That's interesting.
But put it as a report. Again, with the trades, you want to confirm everything independently. So
I think that's the difference between the blogs and the
exactly.
trades.
That is the big difference.
And that's interesting. I mean, we can talk
once
more.
Variety yesterday did Fantastic Beasts, and then Hollywood Reporter, like, I've got a pretty good idea that it's true, but I still got to wait for someone to be like, yeah, it's true.
The Deadline team drop was, I was like, okay, I can go home now. It's made my like.
They credited.
We call. Oh yeah. And that was.
And that's what made your day.
You guys
You're
have been
like,
good
okay,
about that.
I mean,
mic drop, I'm out.
Mike's does that. He's gotten a lot better at giving credit where it's due. What did he give you? It was something.
No, he did do credit, and my editors they're like, well, why are you always crediting Deadline in your stories? And I'm like, I can show you examples. They have hooked it up with credit from time to time. So
it's nice, but
So do you have? That's interesting, Jeff. So you have bosses that are like, why are you crediting this? Like, you need to do it independently, find out from your sources, and then create your own story.
I mean, they definitely want me to get the independent confirmation anyways, sure. But I still think if Mike's going to break a story that I'm not on, he deserves the credit, same as I would want credit if I'm breaking something that I know that he was just not tracking.
Okay. That's very interesting.
I think it's great that Variety and Deadline are crediting each other, because when it started out, it was still contentious, even though they were under one roof. But there's a lot more harmony now between the Penske brands.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's, I mean, and look, with your Fantastic Beast and just kind of let's talk about the landscape of this world we are in. Harry Potter, Star Wars, Batman, Superman, Marvel, those are like the big whales, correct, for you guys? Even for you guys, I know it's for the blogs. So like when you do Fantastic Beasts, like everybody goes crazy on my end. So for you guys, like, are those the big stories that you're looking for?
It depends. I mean, it depends how much work I put into it. 50 Shades last year was just a nightmare. There was
a lot of pressure on Justin. It's the only time we got yelled at when we worked together at Variety.
Why is that? What
wasn't it? When we lost, who won the auction? We were on.
I've gotten yelled at a couple more times since then, but I don't call it yelling. I just call it like disappointment.
It was the only time Dickie was. I mean, he didn't yell, but he was bummed. He let us know.
Yeah, he was. I mean,
Josh.
I wish
Dickey.
I wish we could tell that weekend story about. We can't. There's a story that we will probably never be able to tell about that weekend for Jeff.
Okay, you'll tell me after the air. But so what?
Oh yeah.
Go back. So I want to clue Schmoville in here, because so auction. Are you talking about the book?
Oh, when
rights?
when the rights went out, like it was just nuts. Like they were all meeting at Soho House. It was. But Mike's so into the book world, like it just like it was like we tried, but this comes. We would have had to like. You
had to get to Val. I think it was Hoskins.
Yeah, or you would have had to like really risk it, like really roll the dice, and be like, all right, I think it's like they're not going to tell us, but I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, because that's a big story. We know the impact of the book. We know that sooner or later Hollywood's going to bite and make this movie.
There was just a huge appetite to find out everything that was going on with that book. I felt personally a lot of pressure all the way. I mean, once those leads were cast and Jamie Dornan replaced Charlie Hunnam, I was like, I can breathe easy. Okay. Justin broke a ton of the supporting cast. Yeah, because I was just ready to just give up.
Someone asked me a question. A friend of mine asked me. It's like, what wasn't the biggest scoop? Was the most significant one? I think Dornan was for me because it showed I could do this on my own. Like that was my scoop. I roll with it. I went with it and I got it. And after that there was like Adam Driver, the John Boyega, there was like Star Wars stuff. Yeah. But and then obviously Yates. But that was the one where I was like, all right, like I can do that. Like that was like validation to myself that there's always that voice in your head like, oh, you can't. You're always going to need help.
You can break the stories that the world is really waiting on.
Yeah, and that's interesting to me. It's like I mentioned Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and then we're talking about 50 Shades of Grey.
Well, honestly, I think it's interesting because it helped expand our audience for scoops. Totally. Like women.
Absolutely.
I mean, the Hunger Games scoop we got a couple like that. Like, we were behind a paywall then.
That was a funny one.
But that is my favorite scoop of all time. That was.
And what's that again?
Jennifer Lawrence
being Katniss.
Yeah, Katniss.
That's a good one.
I mean, that was the hardest chase I have ever. Like that was the day I learned. All right, dude, you're gonna die before you're 30 if you keep going at this rate. There was so many stories written and like back and forth. The week up until we got it, it was just like everybody was just telling us, hold off, there's nothing.
Who did you think it was before her?
It was either Haley Steinfeld or Abigail Breslin. It was like Gary Ross was deciding whether it was an age thing. Lawrence. It was like whether they wanted to do an older Katniss or a younger one, because I think there's like a 5-year difference.
That at least what you mentioned.
I mean, but Lawrence always seemed like the one who got it, and I was like in the gym. I had 2 phones at the time. My phone that was my BlackBerry went off. I didn't realize I was like in the middle of like a bench press, and my buddy picks up. He's like, "Yo, girl Brenna's on the phone," and he thought it was like a booty call. That's a publicist I gotta pick up. So I picked the phone up. I was like, what's going on? She's like, you should go with something now. So I run up in like a wife beater. Stuart Oldham was still around. I'm like, let's roll. We beat Mike by like 8 minutes. No one was in the office. It was like 7:30 at night when this happened. And
so you guys all have leads on this, right? You're tracking this.
I think that story had like 4 people getting credit. It was like me and Jeff with like Rachel Abrams and Dave McNary at the like contributed.
It was a team effort.
It was a team effort.
Okay.
Hunting Katniss.
And you're in the gym, and I hear booty call, so I'm like wondering, are you working out at like midnight or
no?
is it
It's I don't know why he said that. It was just a buddy of mine. I asked him to pick the phone up, and he said it with her phone. Like, let's move on from that. But
I have a few just quick questions because I know we're getting up there in the show.
All right, let's.
Oh, okay. We're getting the mark.
We're getting. JT is waving us off.
Just some rapid fire things. Do you ever block people on Twitter?
No.
Okay.
No.
You can take the heat.
Okay.
I can't.
Well, I don't bother it. It doesn't bother me. I mean, like I've said that before. Twitter's just, I think you are the only like I'll read yours, and because I know you, I can know you won't care that much if I say something.
Oh yeah, no, I can.
Yeah, I've never done it. I don't defriend people. I don't like stop
Yeah.
people from seeing my Instagram. I don't really care. Like,
Okay.
Has the job ever gotten you a date?
Several. I've dated a lot. I'm known for dating in the industry. Not gotten me a date, but like I mean, just in general, I prefer dating in the industry just because it's
know
easier.
what you do.
Well, no, it's just it's easy to meet people. It's a good way. They know the schedule and all that stuff.
They understand the craziness.
They understand. I've never. Now let me refrain that. I've never slept with a source, but like I've met.
You've gotten close?
I've met people. I've met females through the work, and it's led to dating opportunities. But yeah, I dating in LA sucks. It's like a second job. So
I know.
So I
of course you're
prefer
gonna
the easier route.
when you're talking to people that are of the female persuasion, and you're sharing
There's always
stuff.
you go about it the right way, but yeah, there's
When you're like, I've got a ticket to the George Clooney premiere Thursday night.
I've used that a couple times. I actually like taking people that want to go to that. So like I usually am able to find someone to go to a movie.
What is the coolest thing the job has allowed you to do? Because I mean, one of the things that I thought was really cool working at Variety was the reactions, which you had mentioned earlier in the show. But what's the coolest thing the job's allowed you to do?
I mean, just the people I've met, the opportunity, like to and they're my friends now. It is cool to say, oh, I had dinner with so-and-so's agent or like the producer of this or whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm friends with several actors now through this job.
That's cool.
I mentioned you weren't supposed to mention the podcast, but Jerry Farrar is a buddy of mine.
Turtle from Entourage, is that correct?
A guy, yeah, it's a guy I've gotten to know through the years through just friends we run with.
Grillo a little bit?
Frank Grillo's a good guy.
So do these actors ever kind of contact you and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, you got it?
Kind of one time, but I've had more of appreciations. Like Frank called me when I helped him out one time. Jerry
I feel like Frank always sent you a letter when you wrote something about him. That's a sweet guy.
He's a great guy.
He sounds like a great guy.
I'm so glad for him this year. Like between Captain America and The Purge, he needs to blow up because that guy. He's one of the good ones.
I think he will.
Deserves it.
I think he will.
And Jerry called when Arturo got it. He was really proud of that coming together. So that's how that relationship kind of. And then we met up after that. And then and that's there was Dylan O'Brien randomly when he got the internship. He was really young and appreciated it, so he called me up. So yeah, that's a cool thing, I think.
Okay. Yeah. What do you make? I mean, you're at Variety, so I just want to take advantage of it. What do you make of print versus online? Is print? I miss
it a little bit.
What's the future?
It's where the money is. I mean, I still think.
Yeah.
Until they figure out a way, it's where the money is. Like the difference between a big when our weekly sell has 140 pages compared to a couple online things. It's I don't see the numbers, but it's got to be different. So
when you say the money is there, like actual print, people are buying it, buying ads in the magazine or online?
In both. That's the thing. The prices of an online or a print ad is much more than an online. So until they figure that out, it's
tough. That's what we deal with.
You're going to find a way to keep the print around just to make sure that income, that revenue comes in. Obviously, everybody's working to make sure that it's balanced out, or maybe even digital doing more. But until that's solved, you're going to have it around.
Okay.
Yeah, and I miss that. I miss.
We're working towards that. I think that our brands have really done a good job of advancing the digital. As everybody, they're finding new ways, but like you still need some type of other incomes to bring it in.
Does the Wrap have a print?
We do print supplements for like award season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oscar Wrap and yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, that's interesting. Do you have more, Jeff, or is that it?
No. I mean, I think we can start to wrap it up unless there's anything else you want to ask.
You know what? I just want to know, where can the good people in Schmoville find you, Justin? On you mentioned Twitter. You're not on there much.
Give us your handle.
Give us your handle.
The only thing I give out for readers is my Twitter handle. It's Kroll J Var. It's Justin Kroll Variety. So Kroll J Var. You can find me there.
Great.
Like I said, I don't drop a lot. I don't critique stuff. I stay away. Like, the one thing I'm always on is my sports teams. I'm probably yelling about them more.
Yeah.
I'll occasionally drop. I made a comment about like the image from Ant-Man came out. I just thought it was a joke that people were getting off.
We made that joke last night too. Yeah. It's like what
he's
is
in
this?
a hoodie. It's like the Jamie Dornan photo. I don't know why people are getting flippy floppy over it.
Can't judge a movie by a photo, folks.
Exactly.
No.
But I that's where all my news is. If you want, if my exclusives and anything I'm following from that's where you're gonna find it.
Yeah, on Variety.com. It's
if you want to get to know me, it's just better to meet me in person, because that's a better way to get my personality, probably.
There you go. But so it's you're on Twitter. It's Variety.com. Justin Kroll. It's great having you on, man. Thank you very much for coming. I learned a lot, and it's so nice to be able to talk about the blogs versus the trades, and break down these scoops and break down what you guys do is so interesting, because to hear about you tracking things for months is just something that it's really awesome. So thank you for coming on.
Of course.
I appreciate it. And guys out there in Schmoville, thank you very much for rating and subscribing. Check out Meet the Movie Press on iTunes. That's what keeps the lights on here. Just go ahead and click on that subscribe button and share, rate, and comment. And check out the whole Schmoes Know network. We got Profiles, we got Jedi Alliance, we got the Schmoes Know movie show, the main show on the Schmoes Know network. So I'm Mark E Reilly on schmoesknow.com.
Jeff Sneider for therap.com. Until next time, folks, this has been Meet the Movie Press.
It sure has. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
From producers Christian Harloff, Mark Ellis, and the entire Schmoes Know Network crew, we would like to thank you for listening to Meet the Movie Press. Special thanks to Kevin Undergaro and Maria Menounos, the author of Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness, in stores now. To watch or listen to other Schmoes Know Network episodes, get movie news, or join the conversation, be sure to visit schmoesknow.com. I'm the Pit Boss, and this has been a presentation of Schmoes Know.